Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back. Here we are again, another episode. I get to do this again. Thank you guys for playing along nicely. It is a pleasure and honor to connect with you all. Gonna jump right in. Got a review here on iTunes. You guys have probably heard the rumors. I love my iTunes reviews. They help us to not only reach new people, but also help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. And this particular review came in, let's see here, Strawberry Moon. Strawberry Moon said, "Thank you. Being on my spiritual journey and a new mom, I am lonely at times because I have no friends going through what I'm going through or who are sober and connecting to their higher self. This podcast makes me feel like I have a friend out there experiencing and questioning the day-to-day. I love the topics and find it so funny that they always seem to relate to what I'm feeling. I believe it's a message from God. Thank you, Brandon, for bringing these messages to life." Well, Strawberry Moon, thank you for bringing me to life and fueling my fire to continue this labor of love by taking the time to review. And I believe they're messages from God too, because I believe every message is a message from God. You're God, I'm God, we're God. It's all one. It's all source experiencing itself through these avatars. And what's really great about this whole experience, this podcast, and the synchronicity, even your review, it's like every day, the synchronicity of this review. I didn't know which review. I just read them kind of as they come in. I didn't have it, I hadn't even looked at it prior to reading it here. Oh, I take that back. I think I'd looked at it maybe a couple days ago when it first popped up. But what I do each day, so you guys know, is just whatever comes in, I read the next day. So I didn't really remember it or anything like that. Because there's been some since, and it's been a while, and I'm very, very active-minded. There's lots of things coming in and out all the time. So anyway, it just queued up the next one, and I go to review it, or to read it, and I realize, hey, this is a perfect review that ties in with the topic today. And the topic today, actually, my good friend Mark Shapiro, who actually has been on the show, if you guys check back to past interviews, he's an amazing individual, inspiring individual. He also does a podcast called The One and Only Podcast that I was had the pleasure of being on a few months back as well. He did a TED Talk recently, and the whole TED Talk is about connection. It's the title of it, Want More Love: The Art of Authentic Connection in a Digital World. How can we create the connection we feel like we're missing in a time on our planet when we're connected more than ever digitally? There's a lot of disconnection that sort of comes with that. And he talks in this talk, and we're actually going to share it today. He actually talks about how we can balance it out. How can you create more connection? You found a way, Strawberry Moon, to do that through the show. And it's an honor to be your friend and to connect in this way. But there are other ways you can do it as well, even if you don't have people necessarily in your geographical locale that are in resonance with you and where you're at in your own journey. So yeah, I love this. I love the synchronicity. I love how a God, source, higher self serves up things in this perfectly woven web and they just kind of fall together. Isn't it beautiful? We know we're on the path. We know we're doing the right things. this is what's supposed to be talked about today, that your review landed with this topic. So without further ado, I'll jump right in. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. I would certainly appreciate it. And as I mentioned, it helps us to reach new people. And yeah, I would love that if you would take the time to do it. Let's see. Also, if you're not on the Facebook group, Positive Heads with an S, it's a private group on Facebook so you can connect with other listeners, open up with any personal things you may not want to share with the rest of the world. And yeah, it's getting, growing every day, getting close to around 3,000 members in there. So would love to see your bright, shiny face. And for those of you who are in the group and you haven't really spoken up, I don't interact as much as I would like to as I continue to work on this master of bending time and space. I don't post as much on social media as maybe I would like at times, just because so much to do with entrepreneurial ventures, and of course doing doing the podcast 5 days a week. But I encourage you guys to open up more, connect more. There's a lot of people in the group, and a lot that are opening up and sharing and connecting, but a lot that are just observing, which is fine. But I would challenge you to actually open up and connect more. And of course, me bringing that up is perfectly in line with what we're going to talk about here today. And that is, how do you connect more in this digital world? How do you have more authentic connection? Tom Ford said, the most important thing in life is the connections you make with others. Well, how can we use this social media, world that we live in to build more connections and not create isolation? Because it can definitely do some of that. Used like anything, used for good, it can be a wonderful, wonderful, magical tool. Used on the other end of the spectrum, it can create more disconnection and more isolation. And we've all seen the family sitting around the table and everyone's on their cell phone. I've been a part of that family. We're all addicted to these things. Well, not all of us, but a lot of people are addicted to these phones and these smart devices and so forth. So how do we utilize this for the greatest good? And one of the ways is, of course, as I've talked about before, opening up more online, vulnerability being the bridge. I saw a quote that said, vulnerability is the only bridge to build connection. Now, I don't know if it's the only bridge. I got to think about that one some more, but it's definitely a huge bridge to build connection. So how real are you being? Mark Shapiro's site, Are You Being Real? The one and only podcast. That's his jam. That's what he talks about. And that's what he talks about in this TED Talk. So super happy to you, Mark, for having the opportunity to speak at a TED Talk. You definitely did an amazing job. And so what I'd like to do at this time is share Mark's TED Talk. It's called Want More Love, The Art of Authentic Connection in a Digital World. Let's take a listen.
This summer marks my 10-year anniversary on social media. Please, hold the applause. I've loved it. I've hated it. I've deleted it. I've reinstalled it. And it took a 15-second social experiment for me to figure out that perhaps we're missing out on something way greater. So, before we get into it, I wanted to share just paint a quick picture of where we're at with social media today. So, Exhibit A, let's start with oversharing. Nobody wants to see this, especially my family. And Exhibit B, envy. 5 years ago, I got divorced. It was an incredibly challenging time for me, and I turned to social media to help escape some of the pain. I'd cruise down my feed, and I'd see so much good news from my friends, and it made me feel worse. And Exhibit C, straight up phoniness. Yep, I've got that covered too. We all want our businesses to be successful, but I bought Instagram followers for an account called Are You Being Real? Yeah. It's all about being authentic, and clearly I wasn't. Remember when we used to write each other handwritten letters and talk on the phone for hours? That was nice. Today, we're supposedly more connected than ever, and we check our phones 100 times a day. We spend over 4 hours on them, but we try to speak our minds in 140 characters or less. We ghost entirely, or we choose our phones over each other. I know we can all relate on that one. So really, no wonder why so many people feel lonely these days. So how can we strengthen our relationships through social media? Last year, my dad passed away at the age of 67 after an 18-year battle with young onset Alzheimer's disease. Even though I knew it was coming, it didn't make it any easier when he finally passed. And I found myself really struggling, trying to make sense of it, but not knowing how to cope. Upon sharing the news on my social media, I felt like I was hit by a tsunami of love. I was so touched by all the messages, and I just didn't know how to respond because clicking like or writing thanks just wasn't going to cut it. And I also didn't want to sit there for hours typing out paragraphs. So instead, I just took out my phone, I pressed record, and I spoke from my heart. And I replied to as many people as I could with personalized messages. It was such a therapeutic experience that I wondered, what can I do that's something similar that I can apply in my daily life? And then I came up with this idea that I like to call the birthday experiment, where I send personalized videos to every single one of my Facebook friends on their birthdays. Now, for a guy who just 5 years ago would delete posts in fear of being judged, the contrast could not be any greater. So I have 2,700 Facebook friends, and I figure as long as I choose to be friends with someone, saying hi and wishing them well is worth 15 seconds of my life. 15 seconds is also the cap that Facebook Messenger puts on videos recorded within the app. And in my case, prevents me from being an incoherent, rambling mess. I've sent messages to everyone from my closest friends and family, to grade school classmates, to ex-girlfriends, family members of ex-girlfriends, and even those people who you have absolutely no idea where or how you met them. People's birthdays are just another day for most of us. But for them, it's their day. So I remind myself of that and think of some of our memories that we've shared together when pressing record. As of today, I have sent 1,762 messages. And the best part is that I've heard back from over 70% of the people. It's created over 1,000 conversations. People really appreciate the personal touch and the effort. And it's reinvigorated hundreds of dormant relationships that essentially just, there hadn't been any communication in years. With about 7 birthdays a day, it takes me just 5 minutes to send the videos and to reply to any messages, and it's 100% worth it. Here's what some people have been saying in response. In the land of text messages, wall postings, and telephone calls, one Facebook video rises above them all. Way to make Facebook personal and not just watch people from afar. I wish everyone did this. Or, love the personal touch. You just inspired me to add that to my list of goals for 35. Make it more personal. And it didn't end there. People replied with videos of their own. I had the opportunity to be set up on multiple dates, so yeah. So it's better than Tinder. I received some amazing business opportunities, and I even got a chance to connect with my friend Andrew, only weeks before he passed away. We hadn't spoken in over 10 years. Without the birthday experiment, we never would have gotten that chance. This has become a cherished daily ritual for me. It's fun, it's fulfilling, and I consistently feel better afterwards. And yeah, it's really nice to get a video on your birthday. But the reason it works is actually so much deeper and has nothing to do with birthdays at all. We want to be seen. We want to be valued. We want to be loved. And the birthday experiment does just that. It's about human connection. It's about getting in the habit of supporting others, and in my case, standing for what I believe in. I want to live in a world where more people are open and honest, so we can actually understand each other, best support one another, and ultimately thrive together. That's the real reason why I do the birthday experiment. It's one shot in the dark that I hope will create a positive ripple effect in the world. And believe it or not, Facebook appears to get this too. Upon reaching 2 billion users, CEO Mark Zuckerberg rewrote the company's mission statement. And everyone on Facebook got a video letting them know, or letting us know, that it's not about the number, it's what all of us can do together. It's time to use our smartphones in smarter ways. And here are 3 of my favorite ways to do it. Number 1, start a conversation. Be proactive and reach out to people you appreciate or want to get to know. So many people have done this to build relationships, successful careers, or even find love. And if you want to try out the birthday experiment, go for it. It's amazing. Another great conversation starter is just posting questions on your Facebook wall. In fact, I gathered research for this talk by doing that. You can literally post any question about any challenge that you have and get amazing answers from people you trust. It is so much more time effective than a Google search. Number 2, be giving. Make a habit of sharing your personal insights, causes you believe in, and content that touches your heart. If it's meaningful to you, it'll probably be meaningful to other people as well. And you never know. Sharing a quick post, just pushing send, could potentially save or change someone's life. You can also give the gift of gratitude by letting someone know you appreciate their post. I think we can all do a little bit better of a job with that, definitely in comparison to not even liking at all or just clicking like, actually reaching out and being a human and creating some connection. It really is so easy. It'll make you both feel great and literally just takes a few seconds. And number 3, be real. Let people see you. It's the best tip for getting what you truly, most deeply desire. I'll admit, I still check my phone over 100 times a day, and I am definitely still addicted to it. But now, I use it to create more value for others and to become a better me. You can too, and I dare you to try something new. In fact, that's what we're going to do right now. For Carrie, it's her birthday today, and she just so happens to be my first ever high school girlfriend. So hopefully it's not too awkward. We'll see how it goes. So let me tee it up. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to hit record. I'm going to say a few words to Carrie, and then on the count of 3, we're going to all say happy birthday, Carrie. So 1, 2, 3, happy birthday, Carrie. We got it? Yeah. All right, sweet, thanks. Here we go. Hey, Carrie, I see on Facebook that it's your birthday today, and I wanted to send you some serious love for the year ahead with this incredibly random video. And I've got some friends that want to say hi, too. 1, 2, 3, happy birthday, Carrie! That was hysterical, and I can't wait to see what she has to say in response. In our hands is the greatest communication tool of all time. Instead of scrolling endlessly and comparing our lives to other people's highlight reels, let's make a positive impact in the world. Thank you.
So, speaking of vulnerability, don't you guys love it how he calls himself out in a TED Talk for buying Instagram followers? I love that. And that's such a common thing to do. It's like go out and buy likes and things like that. It's something that's pretty prevalent for anyone who's trying to build a page. So Kudos to you, Mark, for being vulnerable. See how everyone laughs. See how the connection he created with people when he opened up and said, yeah, I'm human. Look, and I'm even willing to say I'm growing. I'm still figuring it out. It's a powerful, powerful thing to do. One of the things actually he had me do on his show as well is what's the one thing, he asks his guests, what's something that you're nervous to share or that's very personal that makes you vulnerable? And that was a powerful question. And I can't say enough about that whole idea. But anyway, bad social media habits, oversharing. He talked about, how many people out there are phony and trying to portray this false sense of self. Let's ask ourselves, if we're ever doing that, why? Why am I trying to show? What is the space that you're approaching the post from? Right? Are you approaching it because you want to build a persona in some way that is false, or is it coming from a very sincere place, like some of the good habits he talked about? Right? Of course, envy. It can create envy and comparison with others. And as far as that whole idea goes, seeing all these people. First off, you got to understand a lot of people are definitely faking the funk with the way they portray their lives. And even if they're not, there is no comparison. Comparison is pretty much the one of the worst things that we can do. Why? Because you are a complete, unique emanation of source. Yes, we're all one, but we're also unique and at the same time, a divine dichotomy, right? It's all one, it's all separate. Both are true. You are a unique emanation of source on your own trajectory, on your own path that only you are meant to go down. So comparing you to, it's like the Albert Einstein quote, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will think it's stupid its whole life, right? It's, or something to that effect. That might not be the exact quote, but you get the gist. So, comparison is just foolish. And it's such a common thing we all fall into. Let's stop that. You are right where you are, exactly as you should be. You've shown up here. You've come to this point in your journey. Comparing yourself to others, comparing apples to oranges always. So stop it. So those are some of the bad habits that we can really pay attention to. Let's be as real, the opposite of being phony, being real, being authentic, being vulnerable. This is the new cool. This is what the cool kids are doing. This is the thing. This is where it's at. Think of it. When someone does it to you, how do you feel about them? Your heart just blast open for that person when they're being vulnerable, when they're being real, when they're being authentic. Well, I challenge you to be brave enough to do that. Be brave enough to put it out there where your weaknesses are. That's strength, actually. The irony of it all, that's true strength. Not these false, egoic, inflated things that so many of us have done and so many are doing. Start conversations. I love his birthday experiment, starting those conversations. How can I use this tool to create more authentic connection? It's so perfect because it's so in line with the app idea that is being developed that I've shared with you guys before, where it's all about building people up using the tool of video. So, I love that he's doing that with, for people's birthdays. Such a great, I couldn't agree more. How do we lift each other up? How do we use this technology to lift each other up? So, and being giving, what you're sharing out there, is it something that is going to create benefit? I don't know if you guys have heard the words of the tongue should have 3 gatekeepers proverb, Arabian proverb, supposedly. I believe that's the case. I saw a couple things out there saying, different sources. So it doesn't really matter what the source is. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to consider and employ in your life. The 3 gatekeepers, whenever you're putting anything out there, is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary? And, living by that, posting by that, right? What a wonderful thing. There's so much, hateful posts and things out there and anger. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And, I guess in some cases, is it 100% necessary that you post this uplifting thing? No, but, certainly if it can help someone, it's a good thing. So this is just a kind of a good general thing to think about and consider as, what am I doing? What is the energy of what I'm putting out to the world? can it be of benefit? How can I give of myself more? By giving of myself more, I know that I'm going to create more, because what I give, I receive. And such a beautiful idea. As Rumi said, love, you want more love, give more love, right? Well, he didn't say that. I said that. He said love is the bridge between you and everything. And so this is where it's at. This is how we can use this powerful tool to shift how we interact with the world and how we show up. Well, guys, this has been a pleasure as always to connect and build a bridge between you, each other. Such an honor, such a privilege. I do have a wonderful track to leave you guys with. This is by Clifford, CLFRD. The song is called Landscapes. Hope you enjoy. Love you so much. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.